This week, I'm behind the wheel in Budapest. We're at the business end of a South African red. And Simon Calder's on top of his inbox, solving your travel problems. The Hungarian capital, Budapest. You might know all about the spas here, and maybe you'll even be familiar with the ruin pubs and lively nightlife. But about 12 miles outside the centre, the city's racetrack, the Hungaroring, is about to have its own moment in the spotlight.
This year marks the 30th anniversary of the track, and these days tourists can come here and get in touch with their inner need for speed.
Do an acceleration.
My passenger is a touring car racer and a veteran of this course.
For the beginning, don't drive too fast. So, like in general, you have to find the limits because it's so easy here to make a mistake. And because of places like exit of turn 5 we have here, with no runoff, I think if someone is not confident, then he will crash the car for sure.
This track has a reputation for being a tricky one. There aren't that many long straights, and overtaking is almost impossible, not to mention all of the twists and turns that can catch drivers out.
I can't imagine the atmosphere from the road.
You have sometimes moments in life when you feel it's something special, and every time having a race at home with so many people sitting on the grandstands and cheering for me is just amazing.
But this is more than just a destination for motoring enthusiasts. Exactly 30 years ago, this place held the very first Grand Prix behind the Iron Curtain. A huge moment, not just for Hungary, but for motorsport fans from all around the Eastern Bloc. Inside one of central Budapest's busy sports bars, I meet David Sandor, who commentated on that first race for Hungarian state TV.
Hát ez egy röhely volt, mert amikor idejöttek, akkor csak tátották a szájukat, és az a helyzet, hogy nem csak a magyaroknak, hanem a körülöttünk lévő szocialista országoknak, többek között az NDK-nak, tehát a keletnémeteknek, azok ide tudtak jönni versenyt nézni, nem Németországba. A cseheknek, csehszlovákoknak, akik imádták ugye a sportokat, és ide jött. De egyébként az akkori kormány, ez egy nagyon érdekes dolog, hogy egy szocialista kormány, egy szocialista körülmények között csak kapitalista módon engedte megcsinálni a...
It was new and significant. Only 3 years later, Hungary became one of the first countries to remove the communists from power. The transition was comparatively peaceful, but look closely around Budapest and there are still reminders of the old regime.
One of the best ways to get a sense of this history is to see the city from one of these. It's a Trabant, the classic Eastern Bloc car. Hello! Hi! Oh, it's very tiny, the Trabant. Oh, crikey. Okay. Ready to go? Yes, definitely. Let's go.
These little pocket rockets were made in East Germany and exported right across communist Europe. They're famous for being unreliable and flimsy, but these days many people regard them fondly.
It was quite precious for the families at that time because there were waiting lists for it, and it could took even 5-10 years to get a Trabant.
Wow.
Yes.
So you could be, if you ordered a new Trabant, you could be waiting up to 10 years?
Yeah, it could be 10 years. You were lucky if it was only 3. Yeah.
Production of the vehicle stopped in 1991, but they're still a common sight around Budapest and have become a favourite option for tourists wanting to see the city.
The Trabant itself, it's something really funny. The people really enjoy riding a Trabant. We used to say that this is a joyride.
Trabants certainly have a lot of character, but with only up to 26 horsepower under the bonnet, it's hardly the kind of motoring that sets the pulse racing. In the Hungaroring control tower, however, it'll be a different story when the F1 circus comes to town.
So during the big Formula One race, what's the atmosphere like in this place?
There are a lot of people, of course, on the grandstands, a lot of spectators, and in 2013 we had more than 240,000 people combined in the 3 days. That's a lot of people. It was last year. It was more than 160,000. It's still a lot of spectators. So the atmosphere is like they are honking the horns, they are cheering, you know, and it's a very good feeling to hear the crowd, even we hear them from race control.
So, 3 decades on, life in Hungary has gone through seismic changes. But for fans visiting the Hungaroring this summer, the basics remain reassuringly consistent. The fastest car will always win. So, if you're planning a stretch behind the wheel, here's our guide to the world's best drives. Route 66 in the USA runs from Chicago all the way to Santa Monica on the Californian coast. It's almost 2,500 miles long. It crosses 8 states and 3 time zones and takes anywhere from a couple of weeks to a whole month to cross. South Africa's garden route gets its name from all of the different plant life you'll see along the way. It connects Cape Town to Port Elizabeth and passes through 10 nature reserves where you'll come across all sorts of different marine life, including dolphins, seals, and the endangered southern right whale. If you don't mind driving at altitude, the Karakoram Highway is one of the world's highest paved roads, at an elevation of almost 4,700 metres. Connecting China with Pakistan, it's surrounded by mountains, glaciers and lakes. Avoid driving in the monsoon season as your route could be blocked by heavy landslides. And for one of Britain's greatest driving experiences, head to the Outer Hebrides. The rugged single-track route involves island hopping by boat. You'll see wonderful beaches and ancient standing stones along the way. And if you visit in the height of summer, you can enjoy an awful lot of daylight, as there are barely 2 hours of darkness at night.
Still to come on the travel show.
Simon's here with advice for island hoppers in Greece and hotel guests in the Seychelles. And we're in South Africa's winelands, meeting one of the country's first black female vintners.
Travel Show, your essential guide wherever you're heading.
Welcome to the slice of the show that tackles your questions about getting the best out of travel. We're off to Greece and the Indian Ocean shortly. But first, lots of you have been in touch about Canada's plans for the Electronic Travel Authorization Scheme, aimed at people from outside North America who fly in without a visa. It was due to be made compulsory on the 15th of March, but has now been postponed until after the summer peak. Next, Jen Stebbing of London is off to Athens for a week in April.
Hi, I'm going to Greece for a week and I'd like to have a quick look at Athens and maybe some islands in the surrounding area. I'd also like to see some ancient sites. What would you recommend at this time of year?
Here's my ideal circuit for a trip of 4 or 5 days. From Piraeus, the port for Athens, take the Flying Dolphin hydrofoil to the island of Poros, a trip of just an hour that transports you to a classic Greek island, a breezy coexistence of fishing and tourism with gorgeous scenery and tempting waterside bars. If you can drag yourself away, continue by fast ferry to Porto Heli on the mainland of the Peloponnese, about 90 more minutes, and take a bus to the Venetian settlement of Nafplio, briefly the capital of Greece after independence and now a beautiful backwater. It's also the best base for a visit to ancient Mycenae, the most powerful kingdom in Greece 3,500 years ago, and the city is still evocative of might. And on your way back to Athens, pause as you cross the Corinth Canal, a masterpiece of engineering connecting the Aegean and Ionian seas. Terry Willis, also from London, has his eyes on a great American road trip, but only if the price is right.
We want a one-way rental, but I've been told that dropping it off in another state can incur an additional fee of $300, though friends who live there tell me this isn't the case for US residents.
Terry, because cars in the US are registered by state rather than nationally, relocating a vehicle over the state line causes logistical issues and triggers a fee, such as the $300 you've been quoted. I've made a series of test bookings through one of the big US rental firms saying I'm a local, and while there's no formal additional drop-off charge, the rate for leaving the car in another state ranged from around $250 to $525 for a California to Florida rental. I'd call that a drop-off fee by any other name. How to avoid it? Well, it could be a lot cheaper to fly across country, though not so romantic. Emily from Cornwall in southwest England is heading for the Indian Ocean.
Our hotel in Seychelles accepts both euros and sterling. Which would be the most advantageous for us to pay in?
Most hotels in the Seychelles price their rooms in euros, thanks to the island's historic French connection. But pragmatically, they also accept pounds sterling. To decide which is best, you need to know how the hotel computes the sterling rate. Many properties will simply use the prevailing spot rate, in which case you might as well pay in pounds. Some hotels, however, may see currency conversion as an opportunity to prosper by offering a significantly poorer rate than the markets. Or the management may be behind the times and apply a slightly old rate that's beneficial to you. Just ask. In my experience, hotels are happy to answer. I'm always happy to hear from Travel Show viewers. Just email thetravelshow@bbc.com and I'll do my very best to answer your questions. From me, Simon Calder, the Global Guru, bye for now and see you next time.
Well, we're ending with more from our special season of stories from South Africa, meeting some amazing people who call the country home. This week, we're in the university town of Stellenbosch in the Western Cape. More than 200 vintners currently make wine here, but until now it's largely been a white man's game. So when we heard that one of the country's first black female vintners had set up shop, we thought we'd go to meet her.
All I know is that whenever I work with wine, I get excited. Whenever I touch wine, or I'm in the vineyards. I need all of them wrapped. I don't want to lose wine, I don't have enough of this. We're bottling our Poschetto, like we're bottling a 2012, which has been in barrels for 24 months. I came to Stellenbosch in 1999 through the scholarship from South African Airways to study winemaking. And I remember when I arrived for the first time, I was like, what are these little trees, short trees, what are they? And actually those were the vineyards. KwaZulu-Natal, I grew up in a village and white people you rarely see them. And all of a sudden I was in a place where it's like basically 99% white people and then just 1% of blacks, So it was a complete different environment. For me, there was a challenge of culture, there was a challenge of language. But it was one of those where you're like, there's an opportunity that comes, let me take the opportunity, let me go and do something. I'll start you with the Pinotage. Pinotage will get made in different styles. And this one is basically a lighter style. It's been wooded for 14 months in oak. We use second fill barrels, no new oak. It's more of a fruity, upfront kind of a wine. As you can see, as we're tasting, I taste with you because I just cannot watch people tasting alone. It's a sin. This is our proudly South African wine. It was a cross of Pinot Noir and Hermitage, which was done here in South Africa. It was done here in Stellenbosch University. And basically, this is who we are. I want my wine to take a person to the journey of where the wine comes from. And when they taste the wine, they understand that it's not just something that you take and mix and put it in the bottle and send. But as it happens, it goes with your emotion as a winemaker. You get excited with the bottle. From the vineyards, all the way there's people involved who put their heart and soul into it. And as it gets to their glasses, it's like they should think of the journey. This is the Cabernet grapes. And the interesting thing is when you look, each and every varietal, it's got different leaves. And the Cabernet, it's got much more pronounced indentation if you look at it. Like, you look at that one. We're using open bin fermenters, we're doing punch down. We try and avoid to extract a lot of tannins into the wine. Basically, in terms of taste, it's like more, you'll pick up the fruit, you'll pick up that component of the wood that we're using, and a good balance in the wine. And then we've got a Shiraz. You get Shiraz that are more fruity, and then you get those Shiraz that are more spicy, that are blockbuster Shiraz, that literally punches you. Again, we focus on fruit on this side. People who are Shiraz fans, they usually love that blockbuster kind of Shiraz. If I meet somebody who say, no, I'm a Shiraz fan, I don't give them this Shiraz. And the person say, I don't drink Shiraz because, and I'm like, okay, try this. Basically, I start tasting wine during fermentation. When it's closer to the bottling and you taste the wine and you're like, yes, we got it. It's now ready. That's why I'm like, oh, now it is wine. Now it is in the direction I want. We've got straight varietals. We do have Cabernet, straight Cabernet. We've got straight Merlot. But, when I look at the wines in general, a blended wine, that's where actually the winemaker get to play. That's where a winemaker got to do something that's going to be completely different from anyone else. My 2004 Cape Cross won gold from Michelangelo Wine Awards. I took the wine, took it home to my grandmother. And for me, that was my best wine moment. She had never tasted wine before. I opened it, I took cups, I poured the wine for her, and she tasted the wine and she said it's nice. The facial expression was saying something else. But it was more like one of those things that it was just beautiful. We've got a beautiful country it's got different provinces which all have different characters.
South Africa's first black female vintner. Well, that's all we've got time for this week, but coming up next week...
The train started up.
Henry heads to Cambodia to jump on board a new train line. 40 years after the Khmer Rouge closed down the rail network, this new route promises to help open up the country again for both travellers and locals.
So it's a pretty simple engine, is it?
Very simple, yeah.
He also takes a ride on a more makeshift and hair-raising line that 150 years after it was first built is still going strong, for the time being at least.
Now, there's a bit of trepidation when you actually look down the track because you can kind of see it where it all wriggles and it's been walked through the years that it's been operating. And you hit these bumps and I do feel as though I might fall off at any point.
So do join us then if you can. And in the meantime, don't forget, you can catch up with us on social media. All the details you need are on the bottom of the screen now. But for now, from me, Krista, and all the rest of the team here in Budapest, it's goodbye.